the fair winds blow. Our home is where the waters flow. We'll show you what we've come to know on board While Sailing Wisdom.
And some really exciting news, we just crossed the 500-mile mark. So now we have 499.9 miles to go, which is awesome because when we started we had like 1,000 to go. Now we're going a little faster. Our speed got down to like 3 to 4 knot range, so had to do something there. So we're now full sail, or we're full main with the reefed head sail. It's all right. And there's a bit more weather helm to deal with now, but the winds are so light there isn't really much weather helm, so it's okay. We're currently heading kind of up towards the Bahamas area, and there's not much wind. It's getting lighter and lighter. And looking down towards Cuba, they got a big land cloud, and it's been climbing, which means that as the day progresses, the heat of the island just sucks that air up into the sky, which means it draws air in, which means wind. So we're actually gonna jibe, go closer to Cuba, flank its coast, and then get going up. This is Cuba. Maddie and I got showers today. It's day 5?
Yep.
Yeah, day 5. So we were due. Now, you might be worried like, oh, water usage. We don't have a water maker. How do you guys like figure out how much water you can use and stuff on a passage? And the answer is really simple. Math. We put 160 gallons in the boat before we left Puerto Rico for a 1,000-mile passage, which means that every 100 miles sailed, we could use 16 gallons of water. So that if you do the math out, that 160 becomes 1,000 miles.
How beautiful it is today. The sun was shining all day, the sky was clear, and the waves are back to that, just like, instead of being waves, they're more like rolls, and it's just the best sailing. This has been a gorgeous day of sailing. I'm so thankful for it. And even Charlie got a shower. Now she looks like a dinosaur.
Excluding the part of the Mona Passage, this has been like the best sail
I think
we've
this has
ever
been our
had.
best passage so far.
It's
I don't
just-
want to jinx it.
Yeah, it's just been so nice. Like we've been moving at like fast speeds all the time.
I haven't thrown up once.
Yeah, like everything's just been awesome. Oh, this is nice. This is what sailing's all about. And our chili just finished.
This is the most important part of the chili.
Yes, the cheese. We had to give Charlie some cheese, otherwise she would like destroy our food. So our sails are set, wing on wing. And that's just so that later on tonight when we finally jibe, all we have to do is switch the main over. We don't have to do anything with the head sail. We just move the main and then we shoot up towards the Bahamas area. We go into the Old Bahama Channel, which sounds like such a cool name, but it's this really, really narrow and really strong currented area that's got a lot of traffic. So it's kind of like the Strait of Gibraltar, but much less famous and much longer. It's very long. We are sailing into the sunset. That is just so cool to actually do. But it's jibe time. So we gotta move the main to the other side and then plot a new course to run us up the Old Bahama Channel.
Just finished off my watch and it's been cool because like Herbie said, we are flanking the coast of Cuba and we can see the lights off of the land and there's a lighthouse out there. Our original plan was actually to stop in Cuba. We were really sad that we had to kind of ixnay that plan because of COVID, the regulations and everything. It was just way too complicated and we decided to pass it by. So it's a little bittersweet passing it right now because I had been really looking forward to seeing Cuba. It just means that we'll have to go on another adventure and come back when all of this disaster is under control. We are about to see the sunrise on day 6 and we're making excellent time. Well, we had slowed down to 3 knots, sometimes 2.8, and it just was not acceptable. Because there is wind, it's just slight. And since there's no waves or anything, we can just, Wisdom just glides through the water effortlessly. So I decided to put up Dill, our drifter. And it was my first time doing it all on my own without any of Herbie's instructions or help. And so it was a real test of my memory and just kind of common sense, because it's probably one of the most complicated sails to put up since it's not already hanked on like all of our primary sails. But it went okay. I just kind of went at my own pace, and it was actually really rewarding and therapeutic just to have something to do, because out here my biggest complaint is that it's boring. You know, there's not much to do. You can only stare at the sea and wonder for so many hours. And you know, you can only read so many pages of your book before your eyes start to like bleed out of their sockets. So it was nice to just take like a half hour or 40 minutes or however long that was and have a task. And on top of that, we gained 3.5 knots. So we're going 6 knots now instead of 3.
Well, Charlie has just taken her first casualty. My sunglasses. First of my glasses to be a casualty. Look at that. Damn. I'm like, oh no, my sunglasses, it's bright. And Maddie's like, hey Herbie, you have a brand new pair of sunglasses in the Seabirth that we bought at Corte Inglés in Cádiz in Spain.
And that was 2 years ago?
Yeah, that was on our way into the Med. Like, that was when we first left Portugal. We went to Cádiz. And here, like, I paid 14 euros for these. They were 40% off at Sports Zone. Like, I still have the price tag on these. Like, why did I buy them? Well, our main sail was just stealing all the wind from our drifter, and our drifter's a much bigger sail, so it gives us more power, which means more speed. So we needed the drifter to get the air. So we got the main out of the way, and since we do not have poles on this boat because they're just a nightmare of rigging and just a headache and a hassle, and we like to keep things simple, we don't have a pole. So instead we're using the boom as the pole. So the boom's got its preventer, and then this white line that comes up is just grabbing onto the drifter sheet, which just holds the drifter out. That just fills up really nicely. And we're moving along at a really comfortable speed. And the great part is now we can go like dead downwind. We don't have to worry about jibes or anything, because life is simple. And this sail plan is tried and true, because we sailed for days on end on our last Atlantic crossing using just the drifter pulled out with the boom, no other sails, and it just carried us along beautifully. Would you want a motor with a little bit of solar panel?
Maybe later.
Well, later we won't have the sun.
True.
Do you want to do that?
Sure.
All right, let's do that. I'm gonna put the solar panel to the motor bank. All right, motor is full charge. Motor is on. Well, we got motors, teensy tiny bit of motor power going, and we're going a little more than 3 knots, which is nice. And we're just futzing along, putzing, very slowly drifting.
Classic, a Rigging Doctor staple. It's my chickpea salad, and it's just really fresh, perfect for summer and a warm day at sea. Of course, it's winter, but it's still a warm day at sea.
Cheese and chickpeas, her favorite food. More. A little more. A little more. That's good. Alright, nose coming down.
Okay.
This is what sailing is all about. And it really is magical. Well, it's my turn to go and watch. We're in a really narrow channel. But the cool part is we are actually going so fast that our apparent wind has us trimmed for close reach. Even though we're on a broad reach, we're zooming, which we never do that. So it's so cool. So the problem is we need to like really have a good eye on Wendy, our wind vane, because if we slow down, since the wind paddle's set for apparent wind, because that's how they work, we end up turning like hard out of here right into the Bahamas where it gets really shallow really fast. So you have to like adjust it. And then if you speed up after you adjust it, then you're gonna turn south towards Cuba. So like, we gotta keep an eye on it. So people with their magnetic, what's it called, of autopilot, yeah, they can just set it and forget it. They don't have to worry about it. We are always adjusting it. Now normally out in the ocean this isn't an issue because you go a little here, a little there, who cares? But being how we're in a very narrow channel surrounded by reefs and rocks and super shallow water.
And ships.
And ships, many ships. My time for watch. I don't know what Maddie did on her watch, but she scared all the wind away.
It's a little bit frustrating because we've come all this way with such perfect sailing for a whole week, and then all of a sudden...
It was just an odd, strange, but beautiful and magical day.
Thanks for watching this episode of Sailing Wisdom. Don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and hit subscribe so you don't miss the next Rigging Doctor episode. And if you're interested in even more Rigging Doctor awesomeness, consider becoming a patron to see all of our extras. Can't wait to see you next time as you join us out here on the high seas.